We all know those flat earthists. Nothing you tell them will convince them. But I had never imagined how big this society is actually around free energy generating circuits, mechanisms, etc. Some guys who claim to be electric engineers, and some of them actually are pursuing this goal. Recently, I think I hit kinda jackpot. There is one guy by the name Master Evo, and you know, that name alone tells much about him. He seems to be really convinced that he's a master in electronics and electricity rules. Fun fact, there is also one video where he kinda resembles a Master Jedi from Star Wars. Man, you can't escape our of judgment. Ah, damn it. I need some kind of weapon. But I know, Electro Boom. I will borrow one phrase from you. Really need this time.
I will rectify your assumptions.
So, I will present you a video which catched my eye a year ago. It's called Dielectric Induction Producing Ground Currents. Yes, you heard it correctly. You know, he makes those new terms by himself. This is why he calls himself a master. There is no term like dielectric induction. Closest what comes is electrostatic induction, but that isn't the case here. He states that dielectric induction is opposite to magnetic induction, but more I listen to him, more is like, oh my god. And stop right here. What is aether engineering? Okay, let's Google it. According to ancient and medieval science, aether spellings include aether are known as fifth element or quaternary. What? Like for real? The material that... okay. Oh my god, this is... I had to be honest. This is the first time I see anyone mixing medieval science with medieval science and mythology with electricity stuff. Oh, you see the symbol? That kinda says it to your face, probably. So he claims to research Tesla's secret knowledge. So he starts by explaining that special thing here, the type of bifilar coil. Basically, those are two coils wound in pancake form on top of each other. Ends of those coils can be connected in various ways. So before I continue, bifilar coils are nothing supernatural. Those are used in different formats for choke or flyback, transformer, etc. Also, there are trifilar coils or even higher number of parallel related coils. He renames those here as coil capacitors. I had to mention that there is literally coil capacitors, coil with capacitor inside, but here again that is his interpretation because he's a master. And funny thing, he actually compares it to one from movie Back to the Future, where that was called a flux capacitor, and yes, he really included that in his video. Then he makes some kind of 3D explanation of those coils and how he connects them and how those work and etc. Basically, I think all this is to mess up minds for those who are not familiar enough with electric engineering. So, long story short, what he claims in this video is that these coils in a special configuration can generate some kind of ground currents drawn from ground wire. And here it just gets real weird. First of all, schematic he provides the ground is connected to power supply positive side. Okay, about that a bit later. First of all, he explains that he coupled L2 and L3 coil, but L1 isn't coupled. So I thought, what is use of that and why he even claims to see anything on ground wire? And then there are those L2 and L3 coils, which seems to be like separate tank circuits. So first about L1 coil and ground current mystery. The thing about ground wire is that at the fuse box near your house, they are connected together with neutral wire, and probably there also are a wire to literal ground. By default it is used to sense current in ground line, and if that's the case it blows out fuses. But there can be different case for him. Anyway, my point is that this circuit is completed through ground, so that's why he sees current. But then, in comment I posted a year ago, I shared the concerns that power supply could short out on ground wire due to this, but it depends what are resistance of that ground to neutral connection. Also, I had to mention it will depend on power supply. If that is an isolated type, this won't work. This will work for non-isolated power supply types, but then again he can connect those wires on his own way behind the scenes. Then the question about L2 and L3 coil, how he saw anything in them. There seems to be incomplete circuit. How can anything charge here? Partially he's correct, as those coils will act as also as capacitors in some way, because those are made in pancake format and are flat, so there are increased surface area, so it will have some sort of capacity, and due to that it can fill those tank circuits, and when he will measure there will be that magical current, but most of that will be from oscillations in the tank circuit, from the inductor to capacitor and back. At the end, I think, is he a master in disguise? Clearly, he has understanding about electricity. He tells true facts, but then he mixes in untrue ones, so he makes those more believable. At some moments I even think he has just the talent to mix up things, so you had to really think what he's saying on every moment, cause the next one can be the wrong turn. But this is not all. In comment section he clarifies that ground connection is made via water pipes. Oh my god, just don't never ever do that. You will put under risk anyone who lives in your house, or even worse, in apartment block. The worst thing could be if someone takes bath or shower while that guy discharges coil into water pipes. The wrong thing is thinking that electricity will take only path with least resistance. No, it will take all paths, proportionally to resistance what are on current moment on each path. I read comments and I'm surprised how many people falls on this. Some even calls him as genius, that this schematic is beautiful and that he's a brilliant person. Then one guy even asked if full moon affected this circuit in some way. Oh my god. Then were also some other funny comments, like here where some sort of guy writes a comment and then says that was not him, and then Iwo comes and says that that guy needs to change a password, and that was aha moment for him. Seems like Iwo truly is a master at everything. Then one guy mentioned that he had to be cautious when pulling current from ground, that it can cause strange local effects that aren't desirable. And Ivo replies, strange local effects? Of what kind? Sounds like magic. And thank you. And this is unbelievable. Some, by judging of their comments, seems to have some sort of decent knowledge in electronics, but they blindly believe in him. And then are those who have like minimal experience in electronics and sees him as a real master. He even asks others to support his so-called research for free energy so others can donate cash, and some did through YouTube platform and some did pretty decent amounts. Then there are other followers who posted some kind of videos where they try to replicate Ivo's schematic, like this one, who made a pretty big setup. In his video name he claims that he could get 450% gain, but in video can be seen only a big mess on table. No real understanding what he's showing and what he's measuring, probably made deliberately so viewer could not understand it. Then one guy made a lot of notes of Master Ivo stuff by dedicating whole page for that. Made some kind of a replica in cardboard case. Just, oh my god. You know, no fire safety here. Like fireplace ready to be lit up. And also with no real results. Then those guys from OverUnityDOTcom channel with their really unsafe circuit. As they put in description that they blow out some kind of diodes, probably due to overvoltage, and they claim that multiple times got shocked by it. And that is unsafe. I'm glad to see that they weren't injured more.
I had to stop right here and shout out for everyone. Please, 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 if you have minimal experience in electronics, stay away from those coils and high voltage capacitors also. The thing is, when you energize a coil and then disconnect, in theory, it will have infinite voltage between both of coil ends. In reality, that will be a finite number, but that will depend on like air humidity, circuit parameters, etc. You name it. Coils can easily go not even to hundreds of volts, but to thousands, 10,000s, or even more. And if they can store enough energy, they for sure will be deadly. So please think twice before you get your hands on the coils. Okay, let's sum it up. First of all, the laws of thermodynamics. You can't get out more of the system than you put in. You can't get out more energy. Second, when you energize a coil or capacitor, it will act as independent power source. So it will try to equalize itself. So the positive end will always try to find its negative end, and not like ground or something else. It will try to find its own negative end. So that you have to keep in mind that. The third, electricity will take all possible paths. So that's an important thing. And fourth, when attempting to take a measurement from experiment, I will mention a phrase from Eric Bogatin. He often mentions this in his own lectures. You had to expect what you will see in those measurements, because otherwise you can't be sure what you see. That can be a wrongful measurement, that can be a noise, ground loop, etc. Stay safe and please be critical about what you see on the internet, especially in those cases where is something new and it kinda talks against well-established rules, so that for sure will be sketchy. And one thing I forgot to mention, it always will be about how much power you put in and how much you get out, and to measure it correctly, and that measurement is very important. See you on next video.